Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Penapple and today I am going to be showing you how I put together my introductions for my speed build, so the panoramic shots. I did a different tutorial where I showed you guys how I film them. So today we're going to be showing how I kind of put together that footage. And so I'll link that in the description, the last video in the description down below, and I will also show you, link the final product of this. And so I'm not quite sure how long this video is going to be. We're just going to kind of wing it. But first off, I am using Movie Studio Platinum 13. I'm recording this using OBS. So this isn't going to be a tutorial for that, just because I'm hoping most of these techniques are going to be pretty universal. So, you know, because everyone has different recording software. This is actually pretty close to, I think, Sony Vegas, I think. It's the same sort of company. But first things first, this is my viewing screen. This is what a preview of the final product. This is the media that I added in. Here's a little test thing that I was doing. And then here are my videos, sort of things. I'm so bad at this, forgive me. And then here is my audio. So I have already gone through and collected and sort of edited down all of my footage. So I kind of, when I go through, because this is the total length, I have almost 11 minutes of footage that I recorded to potentially be used in the intro. And I also now use some of that for the outro too, for the sort of walkthrough tour. I do a mix of screenshots and that. So I end up sort of organizing these clips of footage into different categories. So this section right here, this is the footage that I am considering for using in the intro. I can't use all of this just because it is quite long. I try and keep my intros under 45 seconds tops. 30 is kind of the sweet spot for me. And so then this footage is kind of like the reject footage, but it's the footage that I might use for the outro when I put together the screenshots and stuff. And then this is pretty much the reject footage, but stuff that I might still use. It mostly contains opposite angles, because I recorded going this direction with that shot, but I also recorded going the opposite direction. So here I'm going forward, but I have another clip that's the same thing going backwards, and so I kind of try and collect these over here just in case I want to use them, because there is a way I can, for example, over here, sorry, I'm like all over the place. So over here I can, if you watch this clip, I rotate this way, and I can edit it. So let's see. Oh gosh, this is where I now, here, reverse. I can reverse it, but that does tend to make it laggy, and it does lower the quality a little bit. It's more laggy in the preview than it actually is in the finished product, but I still try and avoid that by taking sort of both angles. But anyways, I'll try not to be too anxious. I feel so out of my depth right now, you guys, doing a tutorial. But I like to do a different song every time around. So this is the song I am going to be using, and I only ever use, I guess, not copyrighted music. I get a lot of it off of YouTube. I can actually show you where I get that. I might as well. We're here. You know, while we're here, this is my screen. Gosh, I hope there's nothing personal on here. Don't look too closely. But I go over to this create button, and I honestly get all my music from here. I have a whole bunch of favorites, and oh my gosh, stop playing. Yeah, and so I do make sure I use the monetized sort of text here in all my videos, and I have never had a copyright complaint, fingers crossed. That really scares me. I probably spend too much time thinking about that. But anyway, so that's where I get most of my music. I also, this person, Kevin McLeod, I go to his website a lot too. Yeah, so that's pretty standard, but that's where I get all my music. And so here is the music I have chosen for this intro. We'll put it over here so we can actually have something pretty to look at. But it's just something, I like to pick something that's really peppy, usually. I think it kind of adds interest. But you can see here that this is not what the intro is going to be because it's way too slow. But basically, that's it. And so it's a little hard for me to explain how I pair it up to the music, but I find that to actually be the biggest thing. I have a minor in music, so I hope it makes sense the way I describe it, but with music there are beats. So for example, this is gonna sound dumb. Okay, so if you are on a 4-beat, you'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so in that case, I would do a transition between scenes, like from here to here. It would go sort of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That sort of transition would be on the 1, if that makes any sense. But yeah, so I do try and do that. Another thing I do like to do is, so I like to cut my footage off right before it stops. And what I mean by that is, here we go. So I find that things look better when you transition from something that's moving to something else that's moving. I think it goes a lot smoother compared to doing something like this. You can it just kind of looks off to me. If it works for you, that's fine. But just, we got something moving and then, oh, that wasn't a really good example. I guess this would be a better example. Let's see. We'll just do that for now. But okay, here we go. So this is not moving. And so when you go to transition, it does weird stuff, I think. More of a personal preference though. But yeah, so let's look at all this footage that I have picked. And I will tell you a little bit why, I guess. So this is the footage that I'm going to be using for the outro of my intro, if that makes sense. And basically it's just sort of a downward angle, and then I have the cool sort of moon rising. I thought that looked really cute. And so what I'm going to do to actually make this the outro is I go to the point where the camera stops moving, and I use these are one scene over buttons, and I use these all the time. And so then I'm going to speed this up, and I do this by pressing Control and then dragging this. It'll probably be different in whatever program you're using, but this is how it is in mine. I can only go up to 4 times speed, which can be kind of annoying. But so this will stop, and then that'll go a bit faster, so it creates more interest. And then now that the moon is gone there, this is when I'll bring in the thumbnail that I made. And so it'll go something like this. And that's about when the music will quiet, and I will do something like, hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing blah, 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 blah. So that's how that's gonna work. And so I already have this set up how I like it. So I'm actually going to press Control and then click on it, and that groups them together. And I'm gonna group this so that when I move them around, they don't go haywire. But that's gonna be the ending of my intro, and I'm hoping that that's gonna be about here, because if you listen, this is about the 30-second mark, and it's also when the music changes. So I'll let you guys hear it for a second. So this is probably that little music transition. That's probably where I'll end it, either before it or slightly after it, something like that. But so this was gonna go somewhere around here. So that's the ending. And so now I have the intro I think I wanted. Yeah, actually I was kind of torn. So I'm going to choose between this as the intro shot. I like it because you can see the sort of fish pond. You got some action going on over here, and then when the camera shifts, it brings the house into full view. So I'll probably go with this one, but this is the other version I have. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go with this one. This one's cool because you get sort of like a from in the bushes angle, but in the end I'm not gonna actually go with this one because of this sim walking. I hate it when sims walk into the frame. I think it distracts from it. Like if I had dressed the sim up to make him look like a fairy tale something or go with the theme, then I'd probably use this, but I haven't, so they just kind of stick out like a sore thumb. So I probably won't use this. So instead I will drag this over to my potential discard pile. So instead I will be using this, no, this, yes, this, okay. So I'll drag this all the way to beginning, and so now it seems like I don't have very much footage at all, and so what I'm going to do is speed it up. So, well, first things first, this doesn't start immediately. You have like a few, like half second-ish before it starts, so I will trim the start of this and shift it now so that it will start when the picture starts. I find it seems to go better. But yeah, so now I'm going to see how fast I'm going to speed this up, if I'm going to speed it up at all. So I'm just going to play this and bear with me for a second while I think. Okay, so that's actually about the speed I'm going to want it. This starts, oh gosh, what did I do? Okay, there we go. I'm completely self-taught, so half the time I have no idea what I'm doing. But first things first, this also doesn't start immediately, so I'm gonna move it to when the camera actually starts moving and trim that as well. And so now there are 3 points of interest, I would call it, with the music. We start out, and it's sort of the chorus, and then right about here, that's another like section of music. And then here. So those are going to be my transitions. So that doesn't mean I'm going to scrunch this piece down to be the size, because that's too fast in my opinion. I've just kind of, over time, I've grown to like slower panoramic shots better, and so if it's too slow, you lose interest. But if it's too fast, you can't see what you're doing, so you kind of have to hit a sweet spot, and it's kind of up to everybody what they choose, but I try and go for that sweet spot. But what I am gonna do is, when this music transitions, because when I shot this, you can kind of see the angle changes slightly. I go up to here, and then right here the camera changes angles slightly, and that has to do with how I record in the Sims. So I don't know if you can really see that, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through, and I'm going to try and find that angle where it actually stops. Oh, is that? Actually, that is about where I want it to be, I think. Just because I guess when I trimmed it, it fit. 1 second. It's actually a little bit delayed now. You can kind of see the camera angle slightly changes on the downbeat. And I do a lot of this. I play these over and over and over again. These can take quite some time to edit, but I'm just stretching this out just a little bit. Although when you stretch out footage, you tend to lose quality, so I try not to do that too often. But let's see if the musical beat is a bit better now. I think that's good now. How it was. Whoopsie. But this is where I'm going to want the transition to come in. So I'm going to want to speed up this, because I don't want to cut it off quite here because it's not fully in frame. Oh, well, it almost is. So going to cut it off when it stops moving. And that, I think this could be good. So it's one thing you can do. So this is where the new set music starts. You can kind of see there's this dead space here between the pause, between this phrase of music. And that's the new start right there. So you can either start transitioning here. And so what I mean by that is you take this is not what I want. Well, don't do that. I'm not quite sure what's going to be next, but you can either take this and start it here. So it would transition like that. But I find it's actually a bit better to have the new image already be the only image there once the music starts. So more like this. I think that kind of works. Hopefully this is all going well. But to do that, I do want this to fully finish doing its rotation. So I'm going to go back to where that angle change was. See if I can find it. Okay, you can kind of see it when you go slowly, the change in camera rotation. So I'm gonna actually split the footage in half here, and so I'm gonna speed up this, and I'll actually make the transition a bit more noticeable, which I think will be good for dramatic, and it also means I can now fit this in. So yeah, perfect. So I now have the beginning of this and I have the end, and so now I have all of this space in between here to fill, and I do try and fit in as much as possible, but it doesn't always all work out. So I'm gonna round, I may need you. I'm gonna round up all this footage. So not this footage, even if I sped up this footage, it just wouldn't all fit in there. So what I like to do, and I'm gonna just check the time real fast. Wow, we are already 16 minutes in. Yikes. Anyways, I think this one's going to be longer just because this is a bit more complicated than telling you how I shoot things. That sounded bad, but so I like to start off, unless I'm doing a room one, which is a lot harder, I like to start off with the exterior. And so this gave us a really good shot of the front of the build, so I don't know if we're actually going to be needing this quite just yet, because if I add this in, it kind of is just, you can see it can be a little repetitive. I'm going to turn off the music right now, because you go from this and then all of a sudden we're on this side, and I think that kind of is a little bit jarring. But I don't want to go with an interior shot just yet. Like, I love this shot. I want to use that. Maybe I'll use this. I'm not sure. This one's kind of boring. But I don't want to use something on the interior just yet, because we're not really there yet. So I actually, this footage, and this footage, and these were all shot. I showed you guys how I filmed these, so I'll probably use one of these. Actually, I'm probably going to use this. Yeah, I think that looks nice. Either that or this. Ooh, maybe this. Ooh, that's nice. Okay, 1 second. I'm going to say that all the time. I'm just going to be like, 1 second, 1 second. I'm going to have to really edit this down and all the spots where I just keep going over and over again. But now I'm going to listen to the music, and I'm going to try and decide how I feel about what the pace of the next piece I want to be is. Okay, so what I've determined from that quick listen through is that I obviously want something to start here, and it'll go up until new scene there, new scene there. So I might have something, I might be able to fit 3 in here, but I probably can only fit 2 scenes, and so I have to pick which one I want. And so I think I will probably go with this one because it's the more dramatic. And so as much as I like this scene where I sort of show off this porch area, it will be kind of slow. It's the biggest piece of footage I have other than this exterior shot right here. While this kind of gives you the same view, it's not as, oh goodness, it's not as in depth, but it is, you can sort of see what's going on, and we kind of get, more of the whole house. And gosh, I love that angle. Okay. So after long deliberation, that's what I decided on. So first things first, I'm gonna check to make sure that this is immediately starts. Yeah. And then over here, and I use the scrolly key to zoom in and out on my program. It'll be different on everybody's. Oh yeah, promise. Trust me, like everything's going to be different unless you're using this exact thing, which is partially why I'm not going super in depth on how I'm doing everything. But this piece actually might fit pretty perfectly. I like to go with 1 second, mostly because my computer, this program just snaps to 1 second transitions, but I also find that it gives people enough time to know that the scene is transitioning without it being too long, because if it's too long, everything just looks really blurry, like you just lost so much of your footage there. But if it's too short, it's kind of jarring. And some people don't do overlap transitions at all. They do just from here to here, which I think can work. It just kind of depends. And so I also have the ability to do sort of fun, I guess, transitions. And I almost never use these. Sometimes I do. Like, I actually really like using this heart transition. But I find that they actually kind of look a bit hokey, in my opinion. Like, you can definitely make them work, but it just kind of is obvious. It's not as organic, you know. You can kind of see, I don't know, I guess, I don't really know how to describe it, but, so I don't like to use those, and I go for 1 second. Sometimes I'll go up to like 45, but the important thing is to kind of keep it consistent. So you don't want to have something that's like 1 second and then the next one is like a 45 or 37 or something. So I try and keep it relatively consistent. And so now I'm going to see how this fits in with the music. Let's see if I actually made the right decision. Okay. So I do like that. The only problem is this is where I want my next scene to start, which I haven't picked that yet. And this is not quite long enough, so I'm gonna extend this out and see if that looks okay. Hopefully it does. I think I've lost a little bit of quality, so hopefully that'll be okay. Ugh. It can be hard to tell. One way to counteract that would be to decrease this to 45 seconds. I might need to do that. That gets me closer to there, and we'll see how... That actually looks good, so I think we might keep it like that. So now I need to pick the next one. So we're about halfway through the intro, and we've only seen the exterior, so I think it might be time to get an interior shot. I'll probably throw in this last exterior shot right before we go into the sort of fancy angle. So I think for the interior shot, well, I don't think I'm going to use this because it's kind of boring. It's a bit too zoomed in for me, I think, is the issue. You can really only see this weird kitchen thing. So I'm not going to use that. This is exterior, more exterior. So probably end up using this and this one. So I don't think you have to do it this way. It's how my mind works. I'm going to do this one because it's the living room, and so this is where you'd be walking into, although it's not the direction you'd be walking in. So that is the angle I'm going to use, and then I'll probably use this one. And then that leaves me pretty much with this. So that'll probably be about the order, which is good because that's exhausting. Oh, goodness. This whole process is exhausting. I love doing this, but it can actually be pretty exhausting. So first things first, I'm gonna try and, okay, we start moving about here. And so now I'm gonna cross it over, and so this one is, how long are you? 42 seconds, so 41, that's about right. So I'm gonna see if this works or if I need to lengthen or shorten footage somewhere. And I'm actually gonna restart from the beginning because it can be kind of hard to get context, so yeah, so I don't like this, and now I'm annoyed because I don't know what to do with it. I'm gonna have to figure that out. We'll figure it out together, I guess, but the thing that I'm annoyed with is you have this ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. And so that's kind of the established, like, new piece, and then I would expect that ba-da-da-da-da-da-da to start here as well, but instead we have, it's delayed. So where does that start? Here. So I'd want this all the way over here, which would mean we'd have to stretch this all the way to here, and that would probably go too slow. Yeah, see how that goes better, but it is laggier. So, I think I'll leave it for now because I'm stuck. It's kind of like a puzzle in a way. But I do already like how this transition is going. I'm just gonna make sure I've edited my footage. So, yep, we don't need to cut anything out there. Already starts, perfect. So let's see how it is just where it is. I think that actually works without any... Yeah, oh, that's pretty. So I'll probably put this in here. So we know that we want this here and we want this here. We actually don't know where we want this yet. So we have this little spot here. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it, but we will get there. This is going to be, this is going to be really weird to edit because I'm going to have this whole screen and it's going to be like over here and I'm just going to be watching it. It's going to be so weird. I'll probably keep seeing like the mouse move up there and I'll be confused and oh, it'll be good fun all around. Okay. Okay, so I think what I want the music to transition is I like this new sort of more electronic-y section. So instead of, because I'm going to add this envelope is what it's called. I have no idea why. It doesn't look anything like an envelope. And so with this, I can control the volume. And so you can see it'll get quieter. So I don't really like how it would get quieter there. So instead I'm going to have it get quieter later on after we've introduced this. So it'll sound more like this. And then I'd start talking. So we have that new transition. And so that's where I'm going to put this split right here, where we go from moving to not moving, but the moon is rising. So we want somewhere right here, I think. Maybe here? Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so I've been thinking, and I might actually put this here, even though I said I didn't want to, just because of where it is, but I might still put it there just because it's larger and so I can make it fit better. And so that would maybe even shift this all the way over to here. I'm not quite sure yet. But first, before I do that, I need to figure out how long I want this to be going. So we have... So I think this is where I'd want it to start. So I'd want the transition to be in this little section. Yeah, yeah, that's good. So I will probably actually... Oh, wait, no, I can't do that. I need to ungroup it first, move from group, and then I'm going to speed this up to here. Let's see how that looks. Well, it'd help if you weren't paused to begin with. There we go, so I don't have to fast forward as much as I thought I would. Perfect, okay. So let's see. Would this even fit here though? Actually, that could fit nicely, maybe. We'll see. Well, this is sped up. By how much? So I go to the properties and I see it's not sped up by much. So I'm just gonna see if I expand it into here, how that looks. How much have I slowed it down? It's a bit, slowed it down a fair amount, but... Yeah, no, that doesn't work because I do want that transition where it was, and so that would mean this would have to come out over here, and I don't know. I might just have to concede the slightly slower quality. So here is actually about where I'm gonna look through my other footage and see if I have a slower version of this, like maybe something that has more points of editing in it. So no, gotta go through. So here we have this. I think this is just going in the opposite direction. Yes, it is, but it might be a bit longer. I'm not sure, so I'm gonna pull that out. Okay. So here I have my backup footage. There is this one which I actually shot when in my last tutorial, and I like it, but it's kind of too zoomed in for me, and I don't quite like the lighting. So I don't know if I'm hesitant to use that one. And so here's the same angle but going downwards, and this one you can see it's slower because you can see right there, right here, the camera angle changes, and so that means it took longer to record. So I might go with that. Maybe we'll even reverse it. We'll see. So we'll remove you for now, and then go back to here, and let's make sure it starts off moving. Yep. Okay, so now this is way too long, but we'll probably speed it up a bit. Let's see. Oh, not that. Okay, so here we go. This is about probably a little bit faster, maybe. Okay, let's see how this works. So, okay, I kind of like that, but it's, for this musical transition, it's going faster and we're not actually going faster, which is part of what I liked about this shorter piece to begin with. So I wonder, I could probably speed it up just a little bit more. Yeah, see, it's still not fast enough for me. So now we will see if we can fit this big boy into here. Yeah, let's just speed you up. Let's just see what you look like sped up. Usually for this I'd want it to be slower because it's my panoramic. It's like actually my panoramic, but we'll see how it looks. You know, I think I might have to go with this one. I think that'll work. This isn't as fast as I like it to be, and I don't really enjoy this transition here from there. And I know earlier I said don't do that, but I'm gonna do it. I mean, whatever I say, it's all preference. So, you know, do whatever you want to do. But now we got this here. We'll see how we can fit this in. I wonder if this is kind of short, but we'll see how this looks here. Okay, so it's a bit too fast still, and it doesn't quite fit the music either. So now here comes where I change everything that I've done and rearrange it all. Okay, so I actually kind of like this. Because when the music gets faster right here, we do have this shift scene here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slow this down. So first I got to find where the music changes. So here. And so now I'm going to, so here, there. That's about where the music changes. So we'll see how that looks. Yeah, that's okay. We'll get this guy in here to make the transition a bit longer, I think. Okay. So we might actually, oh, okay, whatever. We might actually have really close to the finished product. Let me just look at the time. Wow, we've almost been doing this for 40 minutes. Okay. Well, I'm gonna watch it all the way through. You guys can watch with me. You're probably completely bored of it by now. I'm definitely gonna try and cut out some stuff, but we'll see. Oh, perfect. Okay, so there's some things I'd still like to change about it, but a lot of that would have to do with changing the way I shoot the intro, or I recorded the footage, and I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to. That would take way too long. But I am just going to kind of show you the final thing. This is actually almost completely done. Put that envelope back in there. So it's when I actually want to start decreasing the volume so that I can then start talking. So we'll see. I just threw in a random one and we'll see how it sounds. It's kind of soon, but we do have this footage does start moving there. So we gotta delete this little bit. There we go. So we definitely want this one to be the full second, maybe even longer. Ooh, I like that. We'll see. This probably doesn't need to be that long. Perfect. Shorten this up to about where I'm going to start talking, and we will go from here. Alright, so that was too fast, but it's close. Perfect. And then this is just a little bit too quiet. Perfect. Okay. So this will be about where I start, and yeah, so we are actually done. Ooh, how long did that take? 40 minutes. That's actually pretty good for me. I've spent longer on less time. And so you can see by the end of it here, this is about where I'm going to start talking at 35 seconds. That's pretty good, I think. And hopefully this intro is a little bit slow, so hopefully I wouldn't have lost anybody. Yeah, I try and make it really interesting. And that's why I try and keep upbeat music, is because if it's boring, no one's going to want to watch it. But yeah, so I really hope that was helpful at all. I apologize if this is a bit lengthy. The other one was a lot shorter, so I figured I'd go a little bit more into detail here with how I put everything together, and just as a person who has all of this stuff about music in their head but without any sort of proper terminology, despite multiple lessons in oral skills. Anyways, I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me down below. Again, I am not, I guess I haven't said this before, but I'm not any sort of expert on this program, and everybody's program is going to be different. This is the only one I'm familiar with. I think maybe there's another one I had. I don't even think I still have it on my dashboard. When I first started out, I had a different editing software. I don't even know where I'd find it anymore. Well, I don't know. I had a different one before, but this is really the only one I've ever used. So yeah, oh gosh, I'm clicking things. Nope, I don't want you. But anyways, feel free to ask me questions. I hope this was helpful at all, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!